Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino. I don't have a strong opinion about AI art either way. It's been useful to me recently for thumbnails. And it's funny because I did that Miles Morales is not Spider-Man, or he doesn't get to earn being Spider-Man video. And I think it was a really good argument. Basically, Miles can't earn becoming Spider-Man. He just stole it. Everything that makes Miles Morales Spider-Man is everything he stole from Peter Parker. And the only real way to argue against not changing Miles Morales' hero name from Spider-Man to something else is if you just want to own the chuds. If all this is about is you want to take something away from straight white men, which I think most of this woke SJW stuff is about. It isn't about doing good. I saw I think it was a thumbnail. Somebody was like, to people who use woke unironically in 2023. And it's like, this is the best time to use woke, as you watch all these woke initiatives and all these woke strategies fail spectacularly, miserably. You saw what happened with Bud Light, the Marvels. I think Marvel, the MCU, only has one hit this year, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's embarrassing. And they still seem to be pressing on with their stupid ideas. Casting Pedro Almodovar as Mr. Fantastic. Apparently now they're going to have Silver Surfer be a woman. They can't let it go because all they care about is not admitting that giving fans what they want is what's going to make them most successful. For some reason, they hate the fans. They hate the people who built these properties up. As soon as Endgame ended, Marvel should have said, okay, let's do this all over again. Let's rip everything up and start over. But this time we're going to start over with the Fantastic Four. They didn't do that. They decided to make it all about women for some insane reason. Women don't care about this stuff. By and large, they just don't care about it. And the women who do like it are not demanding it be changed for them. They appreciate this stuff. It's sort of, okay, so the whole point of my AI, nobody cares if you like AI art or not, is how people are still trying to defend this stuff. So with my Miles Morales video, I get people in the comments who can't argue with my logic and who are not going to admit that the only reason why they want Miles Morales to be called Spider-Man is because they want to own the chuds. They've now started doing the stupid tactic of AI art is bad and you shouldn't be using it in your thumbnail. I think a lot of the people who were, there wasn't many, but the people who were using the AI art is bad tactic in the comments thought I was the one who created the AI art. I wish, because I thought they all did a good job. But they all doing this stupid Twitter thing where they think they're going to shame me or shut me up by deflecting the issue. They can't argue with the point. So now they got to go because they got to defend it somehow. They can't just give up and say, okay, you know what? That's a good point. It would not do anything to Marvel to change Miles' superhero name, but no, they got to find a way to fight it. They just won't give up. And it's not like, oh my God, please leave me alone. It's just like, you guys are idiots. You're going to keep digging this hole. And so, the whole thing is, you're using AI art. AI art is a destructive tool of society and it's inhuman and all this stupid shit. And I'm like, I don't care if you don't like AI art. Nobody cares if you like it or not. That's a online hivemind thing. I'm not on YouTube to regurgitate or be shamed by anxious morons who decide that it doesn't matter in what context anything is being talked about. They have the typical knee-jerk response to it. I think it's funny, though, the whole AI thing. The reason why I was using it is because the media environment right now, you can't find attractive women in art and entertainment unless you go to AI art. That's the irony. The people who say that they hate AI art so much have created an environment where AI art is going to thrive because, a human artist can't draw a sexy Zatanna or a sexy MJ. You can't do it anymore. Video game creators, especially in the West, can't create attractive women because they're appealing to the sociopaths that work at the companies, the people who would rather be making, indie games, riding around bikes with a pack of lesbians or whatever. And they're trying to appeal to people on Twitter who go, you're using AI art in your thumbnail. All your arguments are invalid. Like I'm supposed to care. You're not worth arguing with to begin with. If your only concern is I see AI art in the thumbnail, I can now not think rationally about anything. Y'all can keep it. Y'all can have those stupid arguments if you want. So AI art is funny to me because it's providing a service that human beings are refusing to do. There's artists out there who are refusing to draw sexy art because they're afraid of backlash from sociopaths and weirdos. J. Scott Campbell makes all this money on these alternate covers that he does. But he's got people on Twitter and Instagram calling him a Disney porn princess artist and all this stuff. But he keeps making art because he realizes They just make me money. I feed my family, I'm earning a living. There's a market for this. Just because there are people out there who don't like it and get offended by it and who are mentally ill, you got to do what you got to do. There's not a lot of creators out there who are doing that. There are creators out there who are just being quiet, being silent because they're afraid to be attacked by some, trans woman online or some teenage girl or whatever. So they just let their industries get steamrolled. The people who are so angry at Rippa and the Rippaverse, calling it a scam. And it's funny that they call it a scam because Eric July's stated intention was, hey, I'm a comic book fan. I love comics. I'm not getting what I want from Marvel and DC or even Image. Solid superhero stories. People who care about the universe, care about lore, care about continuity, that kind of thing. I'm not getting that anywhere. So I'm going to create it myself. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I've been talking about this for years. I'm going to make my own comic book universe. And he's delivered. But you've got sociopaths out there and even other professionals angry at the success of it. Because instead of just giving people what they want, they'd rather attack the industry for what little control that they think they have over it. Instead of just going, you know what? I don't need to listen to somebody like Heather Antos and her complaints. Looks like this Rippaverse has the right idea. Let's follow this guy's business model and give people what they want. And it's very telling, again, that it's a scam to give people what they want. It's all because they're angry that somebody is providing an alternative to the status quo. And you're going to see more of it because I was looking at this Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and I knew, since it was Netflix, I didn't pay much attention to it when they were talking about this, Scott Pilgrim adaptation that was coming out on Netflix. I didn't pay attention to it because I knew something was going to be wrong with it. Sure enough, it's a bait and switch. It's not about Scott Pilgrim. It's about Ramona Flowers. And instead of making a Netflix show about Ramona Flowers, which they know nobody's going to watch, they do the bait and switch. And they're so proud of themselves. I was watching Clownfish TV talk about it. And the creator or whatever, the showrunner, is proud of himself for tricking everybody and proud of himself that he's not making a show about Spider-Man. I'm being funny, about Scott Pilgrim. He's making a show about Mary Jane, right? They're all, I don't know what it is, especially when it's men doing this, and it's, I keep going back to this. Women, particularly these feminist women, who are the ones actively destroying these male properties, these male hobbies. And I look at Scott Pilgrim as, I don't see it as especially male. I've always heard about Scott Pilgrim from the women in my life. Always. They always were the ones who were talking about it. And I never actually read the comics. I just watched the movie and I loved that film. But it was because of the women in my life who were they love Scott Pilgrim. So it's funny to me that, particularly with Scott Pilgrim, that they have to do the bait and switch. Instead of just saying, hey, we're going to do an alternate version of Scott Pilgrim's story from Ramona's point of view. They still know enough people, including the women who love Scott Pilgrim, wouldn't want to see it from Ramona's point of view. She's a component, an element in the whole story. She's a big part of the cast, but she's not the draw. Just like, again, with Spider-Man. Peter Parker's the draw, not MJ. But they have to make MJ more important because they're listening to these women who don't care about these properties and who are trying to emasculate them, really. And they're doing a great job at emasculating them. I remember there's this, I want to say, I don't know if it was an interview or a conversation between Quentin Tarantino and Fiona Apple. I think they were in Austin. I think she had a show there. And at the time, this was years ago. And QT was just there hanging out with her. And at a certain point, he was talking about, and I think she asked him this question. She said, what do you think makes a lot of these directors that you like, these men, lose, degrade in quality over time? They lose that it factor that they had when they were really making great stuff. And he said, well, frankly, it's just when they lose this. And he did a gesture with his, well, basically he just made it like their dicks don't get hard anymore. Once they lose that stiffness, once they lose being able to get hard, that's when the quality goes down. They lose an essential sort of aspect of their creativity. And you could have sociopaths online, prudes, people who lose their mind when they see a K-pop star list Made in the Abyss as one of the animes they saw because it stars children. And they think that just because a child is in a story, it has something to do with, PDF files or whatever. It doesn't mean you have to listen to these sociopaths. It doesn't mean that art has to now be destroyed because there are people who are too dumb to be able to engage with art. I had somebody in my comments telling me that your views on female streamers are bad because you sexualize them. And I'm like, a woman is naturally attractive to a man. I don't care if there's levels of how attractive you might find Pokimane versus, Dua Lipa or somebody. But men naturally find women attractive. They naturally check them out. This idea that you can isolate how men and how people view one another by pretending that Oh no, they just see people as planks of wood. And once you decide that, I like her, the shape of her body, or I like her face, or whatever, you've then sexualized her. People are always sexualizing one another and objectifying. These are not real words. They don't really address the concept of how human beings find one another attractive or not attractive, and how we talk about and think about each other. Women are not being harmed because you find them attractive. This whole silly thing about it's gross that a man wants to imagine a woman he knows in a sexual situation. That's life. If you're too stupid to understand that, that's your problem. But society can't go in the direction of trying to appease your stupidity. That's not how we got here. And this attitude that I can't stand AI art, therefore any other thing that you talk about is invalid, is absolutely meaningless to me. It's meaningless to me. It's meaningless to everybody. You not liking AI art doesn't change the fact that AI art exists. And not only that, you're one of the main reasons why it's getting more and more popular. Because people like Tim Sale died because he couldn't get work at Marvel and DC, despite the success that he had previously. Because they hired people who don't appreciate a guy who can draw attractive women and draw great superhero stories. He became old-fashioned. George Perez became old-fashioned. Walt Simonson is old-fashioned in favor of these people who draw art that looks like it belongs on a IHOP menu somewhere or something, or some instructional how to escape a burning plane like pamphlet or something. These are the people who've taken over art and entertainment, and you've got idiots online who've created their own monsters. If you didn't leave Marvel and DC alone, maybe Ripper wouldn't be this successful with the Rippaverse. One of the main reasons why he's so successful is because he's giving fans superhero stories, something that Marvel and DC don't want to do. AI is giving fans sexy female superheroines, something that Marvel and DC used to do all the time. Image used to be able to do it all the time. But they started listening to people who lose their mind if somebody says, yeah, Pokemon has a great ass, but I don't really take her seriously as a streamer. Oh my God, you just sexualized a female streamer. You'll never broaden your appeal or share your space with her if you have this attitude. It's like, shut up.
This for the bitches, nigga.